Jordan here from The Crafted Piglet, and I'm so glad to have you here. If you're new to this channel, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and also click on the bell so that you get notified whenever I upload new videos. If you have been here before, I'm so glad that you came back. I don't know if any of you are like me, but I have a huge bag of scrap fabric, like a ridiculous amount of scrap fabric. And y'all, some of these pieces are just so small. And you know, what am I gonna do with these? They're just hanging out in limbo. I don't know, I can't get rid of them because I feel like that is just so wasteful, and they just seem like they have so much left to give, and I just don't want to throw them out. So what can you do with all of these little tiny scraps? Well, you can turn them into something beautiful like this. You know, you can just put them all together and you can make these really big, beautiful squares. So if you would like to learn how to do what this is, which is called crumb quilting, if you would like to know how I did this, then make sure you stick around. So how do you go from all of these little pieces to something like this? Now, not all of your pieces are going to be square. They're not going to be, you know, some pieces are going to be kind of triangular. Some pieces will be more rectangular. Some pieces will be really tiny. I don't know that I would use this piece because it is so small. I mean, maybe. But you know, everything is going to be kind of different. So with crumb quilting, there's no right or wrong way to do any of this. So you just have to be creative and use your own imagination, use your mind to do whatever you want to do. So what I usually do is I try to find something that's somewhat square. So we'll start off with this. Now this obviously is not square at all. So I will kind of take my little cutting board and I'll throw this on there and I'll try to see what kind of a shape I can get out of this. Now I could get somewhat of a square, or I could start with a long skinny strip, and I think I'm gonna start with a long skinny strip. So we'll probably make it about 1 inch wide. I need a new rotary blade. Should be able to cut through that really easily. Just too lazy to go get one. And since these are kind of, you know, this will give me some problems later, so I'm gonna kind of make those even as well. And none of this has to be exact because you're just gonna be sewing other random pieces to it. So I'm just gonna kind of line it up, cut it off, and then I'm going to decide what I want to stick it to. So I've got these pieces going on over here that I've kind of started working on. And I'm obviously just using whatever thread I feel like using. Like I said, it doesn't really matter. There's no right or wrong way. So I could put this, oh, that's actually perfect. Hey, I could put it right there, or I could decide to put it over here. And let's see, we can use this piece, and then what other piece can we use? You know, it's really all about building. I'm gonna do something like that. So I'm gonna show you how I sew all these pieces together in just a second. Let me cut this so that I've got another piece to work with, so that I can sew this whole row together, or column, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. All right. So I'm gonna sew these 3 pieces together first. So I'm going to take all this stuff and get it out the way. first of all. Alright. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'll take the pieces and I'll put them right sides together. And then I'll just sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance on each piece. I'll flip that out, and then I'll do the same thing with this. I'll put these two right sides together, sew a 1/4 inch, and then I'll take it over to my ironing board and I'll iron the seams a nice way, and then I can take those pieces and attach it to this piece, and we'll just start building from there. So I actually have this fancy thing came with my sewing machine. This is a new sewing machine for me. I have this nice 1/4 inch seam allowance foot so that all of my pieces will be the same. Will have the same seam allowance, which this is perfect for quilting. And I'm working on a blanket right now. I'm working on 2 quilts right now, so I'm really excited to have this. So again, I'm just gonna take these pieces and I'm going to do right sides together, so the pretty sides together. And it's okay that they're not even. I mean, we can trim all that down later. It's really not a big deal. Like I said, there's no right or wrong way to do crumb quilting. You just do how you feel. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna start it. I'm gonna stop. And then I'm going to open that up. And I don't remember what way I said I wanted to do these, but we're just gonna go with it. Then I'll put these 2 right sides together. And then sew them. And then you have a nice row. And then you can take your other piece that you're working on, and I'm gonna put them right sides together as well. Oh, that's almost perfect. That never happens. See that? All right, now I'm gonna look and see which way my seam allowances are going on the back. I've kind of ironed them, so I wanna make sure that my seam allowances are kind of going in the same direction so that whenever I actually use this for something, there's not a whole lot of bulk. Sometimes I forget, and I'll show you on the back of the big piece. Sometimes I forget to do that, and I have to, you know, kind of make it work. But let's sew all this down. Trim it off. And then, oh, look at that. You got a new row. And I'm not really worried about, you know, the fabric, what the fabric looks like, what pieces are next to each other. I'm not OCD about that. This is more mindless work, I guess you could say. It really is. For me, this is meant just to help me calm down if I'm really stressed out or if I'm really angry. You know, there's lots of emotions. I'm in my last month of pregnancy, so the hormones are raging. So this is a perfect project for me to be doing right now because the hormones are raging and I just need to calm down and not rage on people. So, you know, it doesn't have to, you can make it so that the colors match or whatever, but honestly, I think it looks really neat just to see a whole bunch of different fabrics pieced together. I like that there's no rhyme or reason to it. So again, going back to my seam allowances, let me find, I know there's some spots where I didn't iron them all going the same way. So you can see right here where I accidentally, this seam allowance is going this way and I accidentally caught it. I can easily fix that by just taking some scissors if I want and, you know, helping it along that way. just so that all my seams are going in the same direction. Or, you know, I could just leave it because nobody's going to inspect the inside of my quilting pieces. So once I've done that, once I've gotten everything sewn, you'll want to press it. Move all these pieces. This is a June Taylor Quilter's Cut and Press. This is a new toy that I got too because my feet have been so swollen and my brain wasn't working right and I accidentally cut on the wrong side. So don't be like me. Don't cut on the wrong side. But my feet are so swollen and I just want it to sit down and not stand while I iron. So I'm gonna make my seams go in, I suppose, because that's the way it wants to go. So I'll just take my iron and press it the way the seams want to go. So then you've got this nice, I did it there too. So I have this nice new row, and this one's not quite long enough to fit on here yet. I wonder if I can fit it this way. No. So basically what I'm going to end up doing is just keep adding pieces, and then I can either add it to this big piece or I can create another big square. The fun thing about these big squares like this, let me see if I can zoom out. All right, the fun thing about these really big squares is that you can turn them into even smaller squares. So this is a 6-inch ruler. I could plop it on here and I could cut it out and make it a 6-inch square. If I had a 10-inch square ruler, I could make it, you know, just stick the ruler on top and cut around the sides and have a big 10-inch square. And what's neat about that is that once you cut this apart, you'll have even smaller pieces again, and then you can keep adding them to your other pieces. So it's really just, I just think this is so cool and such a great way to use up your scraps and not just throw them away. So this piece isn't quite long enough, but I think that I'm going to make this its own individual square. I think this is big enough that I can make a few different size squares out of this. Actually, I might make it a little bit longer and then maybe I can get, we'll add it to this. So I'm going to add these pieces to this, but I'm going to go ahead and finish. I'm just going to let you kind of watch me go on and see what I do. right, y'all, that's all I have for you today. I'm not sure what I'm going to make out of these big fabric squares that I've just made, but I'm hoping that I can come up with something, and then I'll show you guys what I've done with it next week, and maybe I'll even be able to show you how I made it. So I hope that all of you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Again, make sure you subscribe to my channel and also hit the little bell icon so that you don't miss anything when I upload a new video. So I hope you'll have a wonderful week, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye!